Good day to all of you. My name is Emiel Turdanes, and I am the main author for the my presentation today of my paper, the content analysis of Filipino movies from 2018, 2019 vis-a-vis with criteria set by Cine Turismo. Now, to introduce myself, I am a student of the Salle University Dasmariñas from the Philippines, and I am currently taking up the course of Bachelor of Science, major in Tourism Management. To introduce to you my co-authors, they are Ashanti May P. Castañeda and Ira Joyce J. Mangune. Our advisor is Mr. Deogracias Esplanada, a teacher from the La Salle University, Dasmariñas. Now, before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to actually present at this conference for today. Now, to begin, what is to be expected for my presentation today? First, there would be an introduction or background of the study, objective of the research, literature review, concept used, methodology, results, discussion, and also some recommendations for further researchers. Now, to tell you about why we were interested and why did we make this research, or why did we choose this topic for this research. Now, it is solely because we wanted to make a research that would contribute to the knowledge of the tourism industry, and at the same time have something that we are interested in, which is movies. Uh, we all know that movies have been around for quite some time now. Way back 1888, 1889, that was when the movies started showing, and it has been evolving until today. And of course, now that we have these advanced technology around us, it would be much easier for us to actually access these movies, such as via Netflix, YouTube, uh, sometimes Facebook, and other platforms that some of us use. Now, this would be important knowledge for us because this is an opportunity for the tourism destinations and the film industry as well to actually present and market the our tourism destinations in the Philippines to the world. And it is truly believed that most Filipino movies showcase the destinations of the country. This brings much more affection and to the audiences. Now, according to the Tourism Promotion Boards, or TPB, an organization from Department of Tourism or the DOT, that gives acknowledgement to Filipino movies and foreign movies as well, that showing the beauty of the Philippines destinations that resulted in the boosting and promotion of the tourism industry. Now, to give you some background on the tourism promotion boards, just like what I have stated, is an organization from the Department of Tourism of the Philippines. Now they have made a campaign which is called the Cine Turismo campaign, which have acknowledged and made 9 criteria that they use in order to delegate the movies from 2016 to 2017 and acknowledge them for having to showcase the tourism destination from their criteria. Now, this is important information because this is what we have used, or this is the concept that we have used for this research and will be explained furthermore later on. Now, for our research problem, the general problem is how will the respondents evaluate the Filipino movies from 2018 to 2019 vis-a-vis with criteria set by Cine Turismo. Now, the criteria that I'm talking about here is actually the 9 criteria that I have stated earlier, and it would be presented later on in the conceptual framework. As for the statement of the problem, what are the movies recognized by the MTRCB that pass the criteria set by Cine Turismo in terms of first to fourth criteria? Now, to give you an idea, MTRCB is actually uh, the governing organization for responsible for viewing and having security measures for the movies, films, videos that, or even advertisements that goes around for the Filipino audience here in the Philippines. Now, how the second statement problem is how do the researchers evaluate the criteria set by Cine Turismo in terms of 5 to 7 criteria. The next one is how do the films manifest the criteria in terms of 8 to 9 criteria. And lastly, upon observing and analyzing the movies, how important are films in contributing to the growth of the tourism and destinations featured in the movies. As for our research objectives, first is to be able to determine the movies that are qualified in MTRCB from 2018 to 2019. Next is to be able to recognize the movies that are qualified to the given criteria of Cine Turismo. And lastly, to be able to give additional knowledge to the directors as well as to the film and tourism industry. As per literature review, one of the most important economic benefits and causes of film tourism is that visiting film locations can also be an all-year, all-weather draw and avoiding seasonal weather issues by Beaton 2004. Now, this is informing us that we have been doing this for quite some time now. We have been visiting tourist destinations as tourists and as someone who loves traveling. But the thing is, we are also aware that nowadays, in our time of this state of pandemic, we are restricted to traveling to other places since because of safety reasons, safety measures. Now, with this so-called film tourism, we can actually build this rapport towards the tourism destinations that are present in the movies. And at the same time, since we are at home and technology and internet is available online, movies are available online, we are now having the chance to actually enjoy and love these movies and at the same time have an idea on what do we really want to visit when the time comes that the borders open up once again. Now, by building this sort of emotion and excite, feeling of excitedness, will have an effect on the the wants and needs to travel of the people and the tourists themselves. Now, next is Nagar 2017 claims that despite the negative outcome of the film, viewers were drawn to the sceneries depicted in the movie. This states the situation of well, people while watching the movie. The negative outcome of the movie isn't actually something negative to watch because this is important to build the emotions while watching the movie in order for the viewers to actually connect to the film and uh, flow out the emotions that are needed for them to be interested more in the film. And also, this also states that not only do the viewers pay attention to what is happening in the film, but also where is the film uh, being or happening or being filmed, or where is that type of destination, or where does it really uh, locate. And next is Cine Turismo campaign was launched to give credits to film depicting destination with factors given such as showcasing Philippine heritage and culture, excites the viewers to travel, and etc. by Primer 2018. Now, this is showing us information that the 9 criteria that was set by Cine Turismo is very important in distinguishing whether these films actually contribute to the economy of the Philippines because it focuses on how these films showcase the Philippine heritage and its culture, and also does it really have a positive effect on the Philippines and our country. Now, as stated by Ruth Rakun Paibun, 2009, Another factor of film tourism is because it brings out the culture and its importance of the heritage in the destinations featured in the films. For instance, the Harry Potter movie, which has various locations in the UK, had 0.5% of tourist visits the film location. Now, as we can see here in this statement, is that this film tourism isn't specifically uh, focused on the Philippines itself, but also worldwide. It Most countries, most filmmakers, most directors and film producers can relate to this type of marketing when it comes to the tourism destinations in their area. It also happens in Hollywood and also happens in our country. It just so happens that we are focused in the Philippines as because this is what we wanted to take note of. Next, excuse me, is conceptual framework. Now, as for our conceptual framework, you can see the 9 criteria in the left side portion of this paradigm. Now, these 9 criteria is the one that was set by Cine Turismo and what they used in order to verify the 2016 to 2017 movies in the past year. Now, it is the following. Number one, it must be made by a Filipino production house. It must be a full-length film, at least 75 minutes long. It must be commercially released within the last 2 years. It must show. It must be shown in the Philippines or at international film festival. It must showcase the destination extensively, portray the country in a positive manner, promotes and preserves Philippine culture and heritage, inspires and excites the viewers to visit the country, and lastly, must have generated revenues or created jobs and relocation. Now, we used this as our independent variable in our research, and our independent variable, at the other hand, is the significance of the film industry in promoting tourism destinations in the Philippines. And lastly, our controlled variable are the movies from 2018 to 2019 MTRCB list that feature tourism destinations here in the Philippines. As for our methodology focuses on the research design solely on qualitative descriptive content analysis in order for us to describe specifically what we see and at the same time get information about this and also some facts. Now, for our sampling method, we use stratified random sampling as our method because we have to eliminate the movies that didn't pass these 9 criteria. Now, our sole requirement for the movies in order for it to be included in our study is for it to pass all of the 9 criteria set by Cine Turismo. Next is our data gathering tools. Now, for our data gathering tools, we used 5 checklists in order to verify if the movies actually fit the 9 criteria needed for this study. Now, if you're concerned or if you're curious as to why it is just 5 checklists and there are 9 criteria as well, you will know it, and I would be explaining it to you furthermore in the next slides. Now, for the data gathering procedures, there are 3-step process that we have formulated, and it is because we divided the criteria into 3. It is by pre, during, and post watching the movie. So it depends on how would we be observing these type of criteria. Now, as for the step number 1, it is the criteria 1 to 4, which talks about informations that you can search even before watching the movie. As for the 5th, 6th, and 7th criteria, which is the second process, it talks about how you would be observing or what you would be observing while watching the movie. And lastly, for 8th and 9th criteria, it is after watching the movie, as you would need to use secondary data in order for you to search more deeper about the films and movies that we have watched. Next are the results. Now, for table number 1, it is the checklist for the first to 4th criteria set by Cine Turismo. We searched movies from the MTRCB list of 2018 to 2019, and we have formulated 50 movies from them, and those have proceeded to the next stage of elimination. Now, there are 27 movies in 2018 and 23 movies from 2019. For table number 2, it is a checklist for the solely for the fifth criteria only. It 4 movies from 2018 was not available online, so it was taken away. And 2 from 2019, there were only 6 movies from 2018 that passed this criterion, and the rest did not qualify. Now, how did we do this checklist? We listed the destinations that were presented in the movies, and we timed using a timer in order for us to know if it passes the minimum requirement for this criteria. Now, the minimum requirement was formulated as the 40 to 50% of the minimum requirement of the movie, which is 75 minutes. And that's how we came to the 30 minutes minimum time requirement. Now, for table number 3, checklist, it is a checklist for the 6 criteria set by Cine Turismo. Now, the researchers formulated guidelines that will qualify and determine portrayal of the country in a positive manner. And we gathered a basis in order for us to know if it really portrays the country in a positive manner. And that is how we formulated the qualifications, or 5 qualifications. And our requirement for this is for the movies to pass the qualifications on its majority, at least 3 out of 5. And that is how all 6 of the remaining movies pass the 6 criteria. As for the 7th checklist, or the 7th criteria, we did the same thing as what we did on the 6th criteria, and it is we formulated from a basis on if whether the films was portraying the culture and the heritage of the Filipinos, and does it promote it in a way. Now, we also formulated 5 of them, and at least 3 out of 5 should be the minimum requirement for the movie to pass the criteria. Next is table number 5. It is a checklist for the 8 and 9 criteria set by Cine Turismo, and this is where the researchers gathered secondary data in order to reach the final checklist. It is because we have to search deeply the internet on how we would actually verify this in a way. And 3 out of the 6 movies in the checklist have passed the last 2 remaining criteria, which indicated that these 3 movies are sufficient enough to be used as data for the research. Next is the discussion. Now, the 3 movies that actually passed all of the 9 criteria are Goyo, Ang Batang General, The Boy General, Kahit Ayaw Mo Na, and My Perfect You. Now, all of this listed are a set of information on how it actually passed the said requirements, although it is just a summary, but it can give you an idea on how it actually passed the requirements. Now, Batang General, it was produced by the 2 Filipino production companies, which is TBA Studios and Artikulo Uno, and Globe Studios. It is 149 minutes long. It was shown in cinemas nationwide during 2018 and currently available on Netflix and YouTube. The locations that were presented was Mount Balagbag in Rizal and Las Casas Filipinas de Acuzar in Bataan. It was shown a lot of traits of Filipinos and how the Philippines is a great country because it treasures its culture. It preserves Philippine clothing, architecture, landscapes, and etc. The vloggers was inspired that he actually gave a lot of information on how to go to Mount Balagbag, which is the location of one of the location of this movie. And he blogged it and really summarized on and talking about how he was able to be excited enough to go to this because of the movie. And this was one of the reasons. And a lot of extras in the film were given income for their participation developing the said film. Kahit Ayaw Mo Na. It was produced by the following Blue Art Productions, Spark Samar, and Saga Prefecture Film Commission. It is 106 minutes long. The location is San Monica Bridge between Leyte and Samar, and Samar's tourist destinations. So it showcases how good Samar a place to live in and the personalities of Filipinos. It also preserves Philippine native crafts, festivals, and practices, and etc. And it featured a local tourist agency sparks summer and local newspaper that encourages viewers and tourists to go to the place or the destination. And also a lot of extras in the films were given income for their participation in the developing the said film. Lastly, My Perfect View. It was produced by the following: Charo Santos Concho, Malu and Santos, Carlo El Catibak, Olivia M. Lamasan, and ABS-CBN Film Production Incorporated. It is 120 minutes long. It was premiered in other countries such as US and Canada. Its locations are Coto Kids Pool Mountain Resorts in Sitio Coto, Mansilok, Zambales, and it showcases the natural environment of Zambales. It also preserves the Philippine traits and old-fashioned traditions, and the blogger shared her experiences and introduces the new tourist attractions in Zambales. And its revenue have earned 100 million pesos. As for our conclusions, that the movies and tourism destination really have a connection to each other. Not only does the tourism destination help the movies have a massive effect on the audience, but the movies, on the other hand, also helps the tourism destinations that the movies are featuring in. A way of promoting what the locals and the destinations have to offer to the tourists. We have also concluded that with the number of the movies that passed the 9 criteria, it was actually a bit low. Basically, it was just 3 movies. Although the requirements for the said Cine Turismo, we have formulated our own opinion on it, but the requirements was just the same. So it means that the effects of the film tourism and also the tourism industry is a tandem to be made because it gives off a very positive effect to the tourism destination and the economy of the country, which is the Philippines. But uh, a low number of film production house and also directors actually take advantage of this effect that they could have given to the Philippines. And that is what we have concluded. Now, as for recommendations to the film organization and film production houses, it is to promote film tourism and push authors and directors to make more of these types of movies, since it benefits not just in tourism destinations, but the film industry itself. And to Filipino filmmakers and film production or film producers, practice making more movies that feature tourism destinations here in the Philippines. This will make movies a lot more exciting and appealing to the greater audience and also help the tourism destinations and the economy of the Philippines in a way. And also, lastly, to future researchers that are inclined to continue the study, they should serve this study as a reference source and guidance to create more studies about Filipino movies that will be based on the same diverse criteria to help in boosting and promoting film tourism. And if possible, also interview the directors, producers, and writers in order to get their opinion on how they decided on matters that were related to the speaking of the film that the film locations and also the tourism destinations that they use for their movies. And that would be all for today. So thank you for listening. I hope you learned something from me at this moment. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you again for giving me this opportunity to present our paper at this conference. So thank you and God bless you all.